Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I just about ran out of air there. I'd like to welcome you to this program, all about your Kundalini awakening and activation experiences. Today's program is interesting because it's coming on the eve, so to speak, of the 2017 autumnal Shaktipat event, and I just want to welcome everybody who is enrolled in that event and going to be taking part of the Shaktipat. The scatter fields were already set 5 feet above the left shoulder, connected to the first, and actually connected to the spine. Really, I mean, there's a lot of activity going on with the scatter fields. So, and that has been nurtured, I hope, by people practicing the safeties, and we will see how things go this 7 days of human exaltation. Really, it's all about human exaltation into the heavenly folds of the Kundalini activation environment. And so, once again, I want to welcome everybody there. I'd like to welcome the people in the chat room and the folks that are calling in. And anybody that's listening from the Kundalini Awakening exclamation point group, or the Kundalini Awakening Systems 2 or Kundalini Awakening Systems 3 groups, I know that my co-host Santara has set up kind of a link where a person can just click on that triangle and get on the program. And so welcome to everybody there as well. And I'm just going to dive into it. Believe it or not, this week could have very interesting ramifications. This week is the prediction for the rapture of Christian belief system. The rapture being that time when all the souls, I think, leave the earth and go up and get raptured by Jesus, and then I guess maybe collated into a certain format. And we've had this before. We've had rapture events before, so I encourage you, if you're a Christian, to put on your rapture clothing just to make sure that you're well dressed when you come face to face with your deity, your God. And so yeah, this week is the week of a rapture, and looks like I have to get out of a couple of groups here. Let's see. There we go. And evidently, this is the week where Nibiru, the ninth planet, now NASA has identified a ninth planet in our solar system. They downgraded, I think it was Pluto, to a moon. And so for decades and decades and decades, we had Pluto, the moon there, and Pluto was the ninth planet at that time. Well, they just got together and said, "Oh my gosh, Pluto, it's just so far out there, and it's just not as big as we want it to be, so that we could classify it as a planet anymore. We're going to have to downgrade that to a moon." And so it got downgraded. Then, gosh darn it, we only had 8 planets left. And with those 8 planets, we were severely in need of another planet. And so, to fill Pluto's spot there. And so we actually have now, according to scientists, we have the ninth planet, which seems to have its own orbital pattern, and that either from the 21st to the 24th is going to come close enough to Earth to cause real problems to occur. And the interesting thing, really, is that we're having a lot of issues with earthquakes and with hurricanes and socio-geopolitical issues such as nuclear war. We're having all those issues come to us, and I find it very interesting that it's just now coming to us with all the hurricane activity from Hurricane Irma and Jose and Maria, and I'm predicting, and it's an easy prediction, that there's going to be a lot more hurricane activity coming up. And evidently we're having the 7.3 earthquake in Mexico City, and we're having a 7.1 earthquake just a day and a half later. We're having a 7.1 earthquake in Japan. And so it's very interesting to see how things are starting to come together. And some of the predictions with the planet Nibiru, or the ninth planet, or the planetary body that's moving towards the Earth, evidently. The interesting thing is that as the predictors are saying that, when that planet gets so close, it begins to disrupt our gravitational field. And, when you disrupt the gravitational field, well, you disrupt a lot of the environmental factors on the world. And this can give you earthquakes, and this can give you tidal waves, and this can give you hurricanes, and this can give you a modified weather scenario. Well, I got news for you. The weather's already being modified by humanity. That's already occurring, and that's something that really started back in the 1950s. So that's not a real new thing. It's just that many different countries are doing it now, and whose weather modification device can dominate the other weather modification device, that type of thing is going on. And then you have HAARP, HAARP, and the HAARP, which has been ostensibly closed down. There were two installations of HAARP, one up there by Alaska, one down in Australia, and that's using Tesla technology in order to artificially heat certain areas of the ocean, which, of course, when you heat up certain areas of the ocean, well, you're going to form a hurricane, or you're going to form an El Nino or a La Nina, and this is going to have direct ramification upon the weather, in this world. And so, partially, the weather modification events are being driven by egocentrism of the unenlightened human scientists of this world and of this country, the United States, but also of other countries, China and Russia and India and Britain and France and Germany. And so, there's a war within a war within a war within a war. There are all these patterns of competition playing out on this planet. And if this Nibiru planet really is the fact, and it is coming close, well, that's all going to kind of explode in our faces, and you might see some of the unknown technologies come forth, like Project Blue Beam, and basically that's just this really high tech projector that's able to project a scene into the sky, into the clouds, and so that huge populations we'll see the reintroduction of Buddha or Krishna or Christ or some other form of religious deity projected upon the clouds with a very specific message, brought to you by Crest toothpaste. So that's a joke. I don't. Only if you were alive in the States 40 years ago would you get that. But so this could be the excuse for a lot of some of the unknown technologies to present themselves. And how does this relate to us in a Kundalini context? Well, the way we want to really begin to look at this is a much higher visual understanding. We can see the competition and the inner workings, the Machiavellian jockeying for position of human egocentric concerns. We can see that, and we can understand that, and basically our job is very simple. Our job is to shine the light of the divine consciousness ever more bright during these times. And these times, these times have been somewhat forecast. Some of the ancient books will talk about it, and some of the ancient books, will have a real good idea of what's going on. And then you have, some of the folks like the Hopi Indians, they have their predictions, and that's been an oral tradition that's been handed down for thousands of years. And then we have also the King James version of the Bible for the Christian people, the Quran for the Islamic people, and these books actually contain pathways towards enlightenment that you must get to in the way of divine interpretation of a divine document. If you don't have the Kundalini, otherwise, if you don't have the Kundalini, then you're not going to receive that key to the interpretation of a divine document as clearly as, say, somebody who does have it. With the Kundalini, you do gain access points within divine documents that others don't have. The Oxford scientists won't have it. The AMA of the United States won't have it. The physicists and the biologists and forgive me, Rosemary's a biologist. So, all of these folks won't have the answer because they're so locked into that narrow platform of science expectation and experimentation. But those who have the Kundalini, those who have been invited and inducted into a divine expression, these are the people who will be able to understand it. And I've just come into contact with this recently, and it's a very, very interesting thing. And there have been people that have come to this world that have exposed the truth to people in the United States, in Europe, in India, in Asia, all across the globe. They have introduced these levels of truth to the masses, and yet only certain percentages of those masses are able to hear it. And typically that's a very, very small percentage of the masses of humanity on this world. A small percentage of like 10 billion people will be able to hear what is being said. And yet, once again, that is a reason for you to shine your brilliance even brighter. Really, really, really walk of the Kundalini. Walk the talk of the safeties. Walk the talk of the noble behaviors seriously and strongly, especially during stressy situations like a hurricane or an earthquake or some sort of stress-filled scenario that's coming up, like, say, people, responding to fear porn or like the planet being rammed by another planet and the end of the world being that's pretty much a fear porn thing. Even if the 9th planet, which I think is the 10th planet, because I still haven't given up on Pluto, but even if the Pluto or Uranus, I don't know which one. Anyway, but even if this planetary body does come close enough to upset the gravitational and magnetic fields of this world, it's not the end of this world. This world will go on and on and on. Human beings, are just kind of at the moment, I'd have to say, human beings are kind of a cancer on this world, especially here in the United States. The United States is founded on Christian ideology, and the Christian ideology basically says, well, we're stewards of the land, which means that we can poison it, we can radioactivate it, we can destroy it in whatever way we want because we're stewards of the land. So, I would like to see a much stronger level, perhaps, of shamanic domination on the North American continent, and something that is, far more natural and less evolved towards the greed of the few at the expense of the many. and the many includes all the animals and plants and insects and the biology of our planet. However, we shine our light even brighter and brighter and brighter, and we do not diminish that brilliance when a time of stress comes upon us. We don't buy into the pornography of fear. We don't do that because this has happened over and over. You see the cycle of this. The first time I think it really happened on a global level was with K2. Everybody remember the K2 when this was like 17 years ago when we were going to shift from 1999 to the year 2000, and the computers just weren't going to be able to catch up, and because everything's dialed into computers now, this was like, oh my God, the computers aren't going to catch up. It's like, what will happen is it's like all the energy grid's going to shut down, and we won't be able to get food, and McDonald's might be closed. And oh my God, it's going to be terrible, terrible. And of course, the day came and the day went, and the computers didn't shut down. And once again, we all looked at each other and go, wow, that fear porn was really powerful. And then we got to look forward to the next fear porn event, which I believe was happening in, I think there was another fear porn event between the year 2000 and 2012. I just forget what it is. But the 2012 fear porn event was, whoa, my gosh, that was a creme de la creme of fear pornography. And the big movie was made out of it, and I actually liked the movie. I loved watching Santa Monica do that. But anyway, because I used to live there. And it was, oh my God, 2012 came and went, and Santa Monica didn't do that. And there was no eruption of Yellowstone, and oh my gosh, it's like we all looked at each other and go, wow, that fear porn is really powerful. And now, 5 years later, we have the second of an event that is, supposedly going to cause us great calamity. And once again, ladies and gentlemen of the Kundalini universe, multiverse, listen. Don't be afraid of anything. When you have Kundalini, fear is not something that you must go into. I was going to say it's not an option, but it is. I mean, she'll give you the choice to go into fear and run around like a fear porn person. And you can do that. She'll give you the freedom to do that. But why not do something a little bit more productive and helpful to other people and to yourself, and to shine the brilliance of your Kundalini even brighter? Don't fall in to the quagmire of fear. You have the Kundalini now. Your life is different now. Nothing is happening accidental to you anymore. Everything that you have ever done in this world has been catered to your Kundalini awakening or activation. Nothing has happened to you accidentally. Every trauma, every joy, every success, every failure has been geared towards your activation and awakening within the Kundalini. Kundalini people are not accidental, and there's such a small portion of the population that they are we are the real keepers of the sacred flame of wisdom and divine expression upon this world. We are the human divine. And we need to really start taking that responsibility a lot more seriously. Now, when the Kundalini comes into an individual at first, people are very, very, oh my God, what is happening to me? I'm getting these little rashes on my skin, and I'm seeing these lights float around me, and they're really pretty, but I don't know what they are. So, because I don't know what they are, then oh my God, I'm terrified. Okay. In the activation, you'll see a lot of strange and unusual things that your science addiction will not be able to clarify for you. And so, you'll have to go through that a little bit. But I'm gonna really encourage you to trust. Trust, and trust. Do not give in to the fear porn that your ego is going to want to cascade down within you because something is happening that is way out of the ordinary. And this includes, any kind of an event caused by a planetary, or shall we say, a celestial body that's coming, through the solar system, whether it belongs in the solar system or not, whether it's inhabited by Anunnaki or some sort of a life form that has a connection to this world or not. We have semi-divinity, and we are here and not here at the same time as well. Do not fall into the fear porn. There's a time, really, for everything. And as we come into our timeliness, by having the Kundalini during certain conditions that are existent upon this world regarding, should say, some strong changes in the planetary crust of this world, like the earthquakes, and strong changes in the weather patterns, whether it's human caused or whether it's a natural event. Either way, we have to shine our Kundalini grace in an ever more brilliant cascade of beauty and joy and forgiveness and tolerance and strength and love and discipline, and especially discipline over our fear. You do not, as a Kundalini person, need to fall into fear. At first, it's forgivable because it's that big canyon from, oh my gosh, 1 + 3 = 4, and now it's not equaling 4 anymore. It's equaling, something else. And oh my God, I can't understand this. And oh my God, I may be a teacher, I may be a professor, I may be a taxi driver, I may be a doctor, and oh my gosh, I can't make this, become legitimate in my head because I'm so addicted to the scientific method that's been taught to me since I was a kid. And so you get to go through that permutation of fear. But after you go through that, after you go through it, mellow out with the fear porn. Don't jump at every sudden noise in the nighttime. Trust your Kundalini. Trust the sacred male and sacred female that are married within you. Trust the grace that is coursing through your veins at this very moment. Of course, here I am, sitting in Northern California, looking through my steel security screen door that can withstand a tank. Put it in. I'm sitting here in the chair, and there's some clouds in the sky, and there are leaves on the trees, and everything's just kind of balmy and peaceful. And I'm sitting here talking into a computer screen, saying, "Oh, don't be afraid of anything because it's all good." But how would I be in the middle of Maria right now as it passes over Puerto Rico? How would I be in the middle of an earthquake? Well, I can kind of tell you how I'd be in that because I enjoy earthquakes. Land surfing is what I call it. But anyway, so it's easy to say, "Oh, don't do this," and "Oh, do that" from a position of comfort. But I want you to just let that seed a level of understanding within you, within each of you. And maybe this is why I'm being given this opportunity to really just, from a level of balance and comfort and straightforwardness, be able to impart to you how necessary it is within really, really calamitous scenarios to hold your balance, hold off your fear, don't buy in to panic, trust your grace. Trust your grace. Know that she has your back, he has your back. You are not here accidentally. Don't run screaming naked into the forest unless you're doing it for grounding purposes. All right. Now I'm going to welcome any questions that people might have about this. And I'd like to say thank you to the people that did the sound check, because I totally didn't do it. And so thank you, DMLC, for saying that the sound was good. And I am hopeful that everybody has been able to hear this. It's important these days right now with this, when the Christians really, and it's only a faction of the Christians, not all of them, when a certain religious group gets up in arms and says, oh, there's this event coming up and it's only 7 days away. In this case, it's like maybe 4 or 5 days away. And, and this is what's going to happen and the world's going to end. And gosh almighty, anybody that's not of our Christian faction, well, they're all going to hell. Don't buy into that porn. That's just straight up pornography. Used as a way to stir up the fears of a population. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into the fear porn of these hurricanes either. It's easy when you're not inside them, but for those of you in Florida, for those of you listening in the Caribbean, and those of you listening to the within the Gulf Coast states and Mexico, don't get so up in arms over these things. One of the safest places you can be in a hurricane is underground, if it's a watertight, like little hole. And one of the other things that is really safe in a hurricane is a geodesic dome. Those have been shown to withstand hurricane force winds the best, as compared to these square homes that people have been addicted to for quite some time. So just some things. And it's a little late for that right now. I know for Puerto Rico they're getting stomped on really hard, and then that hurricane's ostensibly going to move up north, probably the east side of Florida, maybe up the eastern seaboard of the United States, and just don't let it frighten you. Take all the necessary precautions that you have to take. Get the water, get the batteries, get out of there. Go. If you're on the eastern seaboard, take a trip to Tennessee, Kentucky. Go visit your Aunt Esmeralda in Washington State. Okay, you don't have to stay there, but neither. And if you do have to stay there, then stay there with secured knowledge of the grace that surrounds you and that is emanating from within you. Trust Kundalini, ladies and gentlemen. Trust it more than you trust anything else. Seriously. Now, if you have any questions about this, you can, and you're on the chat room, well, you can just write about it on the chat room. And hello to everybody there. And if you want to call in, the number is 347, that's the United States area code, 347-934-0026. Once again, 347-934-0026. You can call in, and you can call in with any question you have about the Kundalini. If you're signed up for the Shaktipat, and you kind of want to know about the Shaktipat, and, who that guy is that's giving the Shaktipat, and what's he all about, and, does he, can he fly? Well, I tell you what, he can fly, especially if he's in a hurricane. Right now, however, I'm going to introduce my co-host. Her name is Centaura Kundalini, or Amelia Centaura, because you'll hear me calling her Amelia throughout the show. And she is in the Emerald Isle, and I want to introduce her right now. Hello, Centaura.
Hi, Chrism. Hi, everybody. You can fly, Chrism. Yeah.
I can fly. Anybody can fly in a hurricane.
Yeah.
Or a tornado.
Yeah. It's interesting. The hurricanes, when you were talking there, I was thinking about not just we don't get hurricanes here. We get big storms and things, so I've never experienced that. But I was thinking of the hurricanes that we get, the Kundalini hurricanes in the body, the storms in the body that we get sometimes in our process, and how, everything you were saying about the fear, once you've gone through it, and about it, how if we actually are in that fear, how it impedes us, how panic stops our trust and our surrender. So I was just thinking about that, equating that with our process as well.
Oh yeah. Panic and fear really, tends to blind a person to the higher qualities that the Kundalini, seeks to unlock. And so, it's always good to, from a position of comfort, and I hope everybody's listening here right now is in that position of comfort to seed their psychology with the understanding that it is the Kundalini that is controlling their life at this point. Once Kundalini is activated or awakened, that takes over. That takes over the karma, and that takes over the current events, whether or not the ego can make sense of it. I've had people where I've worked with them for years and years and years, and I've been very, very tough on them. Oh my gosh, you guys don't know what a really, really mean teacher I can be. And well, you do a little bit, Centaura, maybe Rosemary a little bit. But it's very, very harsh, and it's very, very, and it's very much so for a purpose. It's not happening accidentally, and it isn't the Marquis de Chrism that's just coming out and going, oh, well, let's sleep on a bed of nails or something of that nature. It's all designed for greater levels of awakening and activation within the individual. And it is so true that the more you surrender, the more you get. The more you give yourself and of yourself to your teacher, to the Kundalini, the more you will receive. And the more obedient you are, the greater levels of instruction you'll receive. And this is so true. And yet, sometimes, you can go through years and years of abuse and not really understand it until, say, that one moment in time, years later, and you're kind of going, oh, God, that's why that occurred. Oh, my God, it all makes sense to me now. Oh, that Chrism guy, and I cussed him out, and I shot him in the leg, and I ran over his cat, and I squished his trailer with my tractor, and all of a sudden, it was all for a purpose. So yeah, years and years later, you can kind of connect the dots, but you can't do it like as it's happening. You can't do it as it's in development. The dot has to be created before you can connect it. And in the creation of that dot or that reference point, in the creation of that experience, you must surrender. Your best path is to surrender completely to the Kundalini and to the direction she's giving a teacher, a flesh teacher, to give to you. And most of that is really, it's all about this level of, the severe level of surrender that goes against every societal platform of appropriate expression. And this is what we're missing in our society, really. I mean, we've really gravitated away from levels of amazing, deep sincerity of sacred worship and understanding. Now, we're like in it for the big mega church. It's like, oh well, gosh, I'm listening to Joel, whatever his name is, and I really feel the Lord coming into me through His Word. And it's like, and I'm going to give him all my money. Where maybe you could give that homeless person a little bit of that money, because that the administrative costs and the $50 million per year church house that Joel gets, isn't really going to the poor. It's not going there. So I don't mean to single him out. Well, actually I do. But, there are others like him too. And,
well, there is. I mean, the church, yeah. That's really hard, isn't it, Chrism? The wealth and the way, oh my God, the way that's all stored and used for what?
Well, it's interesting
so
because we have people like you, Centaura. We have people like Rosemary and Joey and Indra. Indra right now is going right. She's right in the middle of it. And you guys know the value of supreme worship, of supreme adoration, which our society diminishes. The value of adoration within a Kundalini context is huge. It's like every star in the sky coming down and embedding itself into your heart and just an explosion of divine love, so amazingly profound, takes over and begins to beam out through that person's heart. I mean, it's an amazing, beyond the word type of an experience. And yet our society denounces it. Don't do that. Don't be devotional. Don't be adoration. Don't have adoration. That's not right. Not unless, you guarantee me a $50 million a year pension. And so, it doesn't really equate very well for many of our brothers and sisters, because they're kind of lost in that state where they need to be in order to find very specific refinement and reference point for the continuing spiritual journey that they're on. We are on a different trajectory, but we've been on that other trajectory. So this is why what I'm saying, when a calamity is occurring, a hurricane or an earthquake or a celestial body, affecting the gravitational magnetics of the planet, shine ever more brilliantly, because really there's nothing else you can do. You have Kundalini, and that is her option that she gives you. Now, shining brilliantly can take many different forms. Helping people, saving people, organizing people in certain ways around you that preserve their health and preserve their psychology and preserve the levels of complacency that they can have within a very, very strong, fearful event. And by complacency, I mean, the lack of panic, the lack of overt, running, screaming through the forest, keeping people calm and helping them to understand that it's okay. No matter what occurs, it is okay. Things will go well. Now, I know Ireland hasn't had hurricanes or earthquakes, but you've had real strange human quakes, being dominated for over 1,000 years by another ethnicity, and having that ethnicity treat you in very, very hurtful ways. Having the land of Ireland ripped up and the forests cut down, and the having famines that wipe out over a third of the population. I mean, you've had some pretty dire experiences happen to the Irish population too. They're just not of the shall we say earthquake or hurricane type of scenario, and those types of human inspired refinement protocols have really, I feel, pushed Ireland in a very, very healthy direction. I mean, 100 years ago in Ireland, you couldn't even vote, right?
Yeah. That's right. Well, there was a lot of things. Yeah. What you're saying is right, Chrism. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys had a lot of change. The same thing goes with a lot of the countries in Europe. Whether it's Britain or Spain or France or Germany or the Nordic countries have been fairly stable. They haven't, not since the Vikings have they really had a lot of terror occur to them, but a lot of the Mediterranean countries have. A lot of them have. It's funny. It's like the closer you get to the equator, the level of bombastic human expression increases, and that's all over the world, really. The hotter the environment, the hotter the expression, it seems. Anyway, so Amelia, are you ready to be? What is it? What's that word again?
I don't know.
With the planet, are you? You have those clothes, those resurrection clothes, or whatever.
Oh, the rapture.
Yes, the rapture clothing.
I've got the rapture clothing. Yeah, it's interesting because I think some Christian sects or groups are big into that. It's not something I'm familiar with at all, really. But yeah.
So nobody in Ireland is getting ready for the rapture?
I don't know. I don't think so.
OMG.
It's not some.
I know. Michelle was telling me. Michelle Ranger was telling me in Australia they're all over it, right, Michelle? Dead silence from Michelle there. It's like, what? What did you just say? Did I hear my name? So yeah.
But
so,
can I say something, Chrism, as well about when you were talking there about fear-filled events? I'm thinking with something that's with me at the moment would be I meet a lot of people who have cancer, who are facing death, and they are absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Sure. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, and so they're really filled with fear, with death approaching, leaving their loved ones, and all of that. And there are so many areas in our lives as Kundalini people where we can be there for people. It's not as obvious maybe as the earthquakes and all of those things, but we can really make a difference by being with people, so that they know they come to know that no matter what, it is going to be okay, and that they can find a trust in that and an acceptance in it. It's because terror is so. I've seen people being so terrified, Chrism, and it's such paralyzing thing,
It really is
So
a paralyzing. Now, my dad was dying of throat or esophageal cancer, and the prognosis for esophageal cancer is really, really dim. I mean, they literally have to do a vivisection of the body. I mean, so you got to go kind of remove a lot of organs in order to get to the esophagus and to clip the tumor from blocking the esophageal pathway. And the operation itself is more dangerous than the cancer. But the cancer is fatal, but so can the operation be fatal. And so, people typically often won't choose to do the operation because of its low survival rate. And so, I did my best to just kind of joke around with him about him still being here. I'd come around and visit. You were around there at that time, weren't you, Amelia?
Yeah,
Did you give him?
I was.
Yeah,
I did.
and I'd come through the door and I'd look at him and I'd say, "Oh, are you still here? What are you doing still here?" And he'd laugh, and we could
enjoyed that.
Yes, we could approach this very, very what could be a dark and scary event in a very, very happy way, a humorous way, a way of not exacerbating any kind of pain or mystery about what the final outcome of death is. If people, I would encourage each and every one of you to start astral projecting. Once you start astral projecting, you know for a fact that life without a body is not the end of consciousness. You may not have the body, but you're still who you are. And there's still a path for you to follow, and there's still guidance for you to receive. Believe me, I have been out of body, I cannot tell you how many times. And I have run into friends of mine that have died. Fred Fuchland, he died. Blake Lockett, he died. And I ran into them in the out of body state, and they're there. They're doing their things. They're collecting whatever wisdom, guidance, knowledge they need to take their next step of a spiritual nature. And this happens for every single person, except for the Irish. But everybody else.
Chrism, can I ask a question about that? You're probably
about
right.
The Irish?
the astral, okay, and you're right because I know that too. But you said everybody should try and astral project. And one of the things that I didn't understand when I was little was that my dreams were real. You know, how can people begin to have or come into an understanding of that maybe even before they leave the body in a more obvious way? Do you know what I'm saying?
The dreams are real, but they're teachings more than they are, actual. They're teachings that bypass the logical, linear, expected information transmission. And that's not all the time either. Sometimes they're very logical, very linear. A plus B equals C, and you can really relate to it that way. But for the most part, they are beyond the scientific method. They're beyond the expected logical, linear, psychological manifestation of understanding that we have. And now, when I was just learning how, the first time I went out of body was with the aid of 6 little consciousnesses, and they came into my bedroom. They stood on my bedside table and they said, "Here's what you got to do." And they coached me through it each time. And I wound up flying with them around the room, which was great. Had a great time with it. I was 6.
Wow.
And then other times later on, I would be in a dream, and I'd be running in a dream, like in a running race, like doing a 10K or something like that. And I'd be running, and I'd be really doing well. I'm like almost in the lead, and this guy would come running up on my left side, and he'd come running up, and he's and he's really going strong, going hard at it. And he'd look over at me and he'd go, wake up, come on, wake up, And then I'd wake up in the middle of the dream, and then I'd be having a lucid dream. And from a lucid dream and having an out of body experience are the same thing. Exact same thing, just a different way to get there, really. And so
that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about lucid dreams then?
Sorry. Yeah, the sort of so that you become aware. Yeah, that's perfect, Chrism. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now, but getting back to your Kundalini and your Kundalini in these dire events, and the levels of fear porn and Project Bluebeam and the time traveling that is truly existent among us. We have time travelers among us. Humanity has figured out how to do time travel, and that's from a profound scientific level. And this has been going on for a while. And of course, there's some ET involvement with that as well. Now, and part of the reason why I see that the how do I say it? The egregore, the huge egregore of humanity is kind of being orchestrated into not really having a lot of respect for the environment, is because they are under the assumption of the opinion that it's all going to get rearranged and changed anyway. So why should we lose our income stream? California's going to fall in. Period. Why should we lose our income stream? Let's destroy California as much as we can. Let's suck it dry of every single resource, because it's going to fall in anyway. What good's it going to be under the water? Can't get to the oil then as much. And all that gold in there, geez Louise, let's just get it out now. And so they have some levels of information that the rest of us don't have, and this keeps them on top. Because once again, even within Kundalini, it's information that is power. Centaura, were you able to get to that 848459 number? Do we know?
No, I'll go there now, Chrism. I'll go check.
And so with Kundalini, you also get to have inside information that even these people that are doing time travel, all this stuff, they're still operating from an egotistical point of vision, of understanding. You're not. You're being given the opportunity to go beyond the ego into the divine heavenly understandings of why we're on this earth and what our job is to do on this world, being semi-divine. And our job is really to maintain a level of brilliance and of, I hate to use the word light because dark and light both have really positive virtues, but maintain a point of Kundalini radiant emanation. Let's put it that way. Radiant emanation upon the populations and upon the myriad of life forms on this world, including the fish and the mosquitoes and the fleas and the worms and the snakes and the bugs and the mammals and the lizards and the birds and the species that we have not yet cordially recognized, such as the species in the stratosphere and the species that are very, very different in energetic construction than more densely formed molecular life. And so we have that opportunity to really bring levels of radiance upon this world, divine radiance, a gift of divine life and divine energy that allows this planet to go through its level of evolution too, even though its level of evolution is not in any way totally dependent upon humanity, because humanity has been given an opportunity, at least on this world, to exhibit divine qualification and divine expression. Let's really give it that expression. Let's really unload on it. Let's really allow ourselves to beam. Talk about Project Blue Beam, but what is called Project Kundalini Beam? Let's beam our radiance, beam our semi-divinity on everywhere on this world. You can actually do the entire, one Kundalini person can do the entire planet. It's very easy. It's an encompassing circular energetic expression. Hard to put into words, but as you broaden the omnidirectional energetic pattern that is exuding from your body vis-a-vis the Kundalini, all you have to do is just expand it to the point where it begins to go around the world and through the world and in the world. And you only need to do it once or twice, and that can just be a little meditation. You're not doing any judgment. You're not trying to save populations of this or, people going through hurricanes. You're not trying to rip them off of the karma that they need to have in order to evolve. What you're doing is you're giving the planet itself a dose of your Kundalini. You're giving it into Shakti. You're giving her what she is giving to you, giving it back to her what she is giving to you, and so on and so forth. And then when you decide to bring it into the multiverse, then you're giving it to him and her, Shiva and Shakti, sacred male and sacred female. Don't think that this is just airy fairy, little pixie dust that I'm putting on these airwaves and recording on this show. This is a real deal. This is something that you can really do, but you must keep yourself out of judgment with it. You cannot decide who gets to have what and who gets to not have what. You can't decide who gets to live or die, who gets to survive or not survive, who gets to be safe and who gets to be unsafe. That's where you can get into real trouble. You want to do that with these types of energies. Thank you for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and head on over to Andrea. She's been waiting patiently for her question. And I hope you're there, Andrea. I hope you're not busy doing something else. Hi,
oh my
Andrea.
God, no! I've been listening. Hi, Chrism.
Hi.
How are you?
How
are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Good. So, the situation.
Right.
I don't.
Let me just reiterate the situation for everybody. Indra
Yes.
visited the Toronto Zoo. And
This
somehow
was what?
she hopped over the fence and she started riding a giraffe. And the giraffe was not really too impressed with that. And you know they have those long necks. Well, she was trying to climb up the long neck. Well, the giraffe kind of like twisted his neck and threw her over the enclosure into the elephant enclosure.
That's exactly what it is. Oh my God! I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
I am exhausted.
Tell us all the symptoms. Tell us all the symptoms that you're having.
Tell us what?
All the symptoms, the phenomena that you're having. People like to hear the phenomena.
Oh my God! You mean right now or before today?
Before today, just kind of like list it off.
I had massive energy. I had the most massive energy ever. It was huge. It was big. I was nauseous. I had diarrhea. I was dehydrated almost every 5 minutes. My lip actually is cracked, but I was drinking water every 5-10 minutes. I had sleeplessness. I felt like a nervous wreck. The Kundalini was sitting on the top of my head, and I felt like a mountain on top of my head. I had a fever.
Well, you're hitting a lot of the negatives. Give us some positives to balance it out.
Okay, the positives started 5 days after. Okay.
Okay.
After all that, all was said and done, I woke up on the 5th day, and oh my God, it was heaven on earth. I feel like I'm swinging into the universe, coming back to me, and it could be, I don't know what that is. Is it astral projecting?
Is what astral projection?
Like I feel, okay, imagine a swing. I'm on the swing, and when the swing goes out into the air, I'm being thrown into the air, and then it comes back to the starting point. But I'm the starting point.
No, that's not astral projection. No, that's Kundalini projection.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I had that. I had light coming into my body, and it's exploding. It's like stars. It's like trees. It's like stardust. It's geometric patterns. I'm seeing colors. I can feel myself traveling through the universe, but with my body, and I'm moving. I can feel movement, like I'm actually moving. By my third eye, it feels like an explosion of lights in every color, every pattern, every color. And it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful.
Truly.
I don't have words. I do not have all the words at this point.
Well, you're having the experience, and that's what matters. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a question that I can help you with about that?
Yes. Do you think at this point I would hit balance? I know
No.
I keep asking you that.
No.
No?
No.
Really?
Seriously. Too soon for balance. Too soon for balance.
Okay. So
but you can adopt a psychology of balance. And what that is you can begin to understand that this is beautiful grace that is coursing through you, and through your surrender to it, you can attain balance.
Okay. But at this point, it's possible.
Yeah, because you're experiencing it and you're thinking, your psychology is intact, or you wouldn't have been able to describe to us what was going on. So your psychology is intact, and so now you just kind of ride that rainbow. Really just, enjoy the heck out of it, and enjoy even the hard parts or the scary parts or those areas too. Don't attach to them so much, but really enjoy what is occurring. Be grateful for what is occurring for you. Gratitude is a huge plus for you right now.
Right. Okay, I'm having images of goddesses. I am very conscious of the ego. I am very conscious of, what I see and what I don't see, or what I think I see. When I see what I see, I am in complete surrender, in devotion.
Good.
Yeah. So
Good.
I have images of I had a strong image of Mother Lakshmi. Have you heard of her? An Indian goddess.
Mother who?
Lakshmi. I don't know if I said it correct.
Yes. Lakshmi. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's she's a good goddess. She's a good.
It's what?
They're all good goddesses, but she's really she's got exemplary expressions. So yeah, but they're all good. I mean, you could see Kali, and that would be good. You can see Radha, that would be good. I mean, Lakshmi is really good too.
Okay, I saw Shiva. I saw Shiva. I had images of Jesus. I had a lot, many. I'm seeing trees. I'm seeing roots, like the root of a tree. Huge.
Do you have your rapture clothing on? Sorry,
oh my God. It's funny. I think the only rapture is with the Kundalini.
I agree completely. Yeah, nicely done.
Yes. So, Chrism, any do's and don'ts?
No, just keep going the way you're going and really get into your devotion and your gratitude.
Okay.
Keep that going. And during this, see if you can reach out and give some sort of selfless service to a stranger. Gentle with that. Gentle with that. I don't want you to, sometimes we can get too involved into a person's problems, and maybe right now you just stay where you are. Just go into gratitude and surrender. So just stay there.
Okay.
Try to get on that one. Lay on your back, bare skin to bare grass. Open your body, arms and legs open wide, and let the earth nurture you from behind you, and let Shiva, or the sacred male, nurture you from on top. Do this at night if you can.
Yes.
And really get into that, really open to that.
Okay.
It's
All
called
right.
a star.
So
it's called a star pattern under the stars.
Okay. All right.
Do that tonight. I mean, it's what is it? Toronto. It's like 7:03 p.m. So in about an hour and a half or a couple hours, get out there on that secluded place in your lawn. And
it's already 7 here.
Right. So get out there and do that for at least 21 minutes and just be grateful for this that is happening to you. Don't worry about the cold. The cold will not bother you.
It's actually hot. It's been hot in Canada for the last week, so it's not hot at all.
Oh, good. Now, if are you getting attacked by mosquitoes when you do that?
No, it's not an issue. It's not. I remember I have the tent set up.
Oh, right. Well,
So,
there you go.
No, it's not. It's not an issue. I can do it.
Let yourself totally be engaged in this thing. Gratitude, surrender, and opening to what the Shakti gives from the ground through your back, and what the Shiva gives from the stars into the front of your body.
Okay. Is the stars Shiva? Is because I feel like I'm going into the stars. I feel it's coming into me, and it's like explosion. It just feels like everything's exploding, and
Well, everything's exploding because the marriage the marriage will cause that explosion, the marriage of the sacred male and sacred feminine. Now,
is that what the explosion is?
Well, the explosions are a lot of different things, but that's part of it. I think you're in the process of coming up to a spinal sweep if you're not already in it. Did you have a base of the spine out through the top of the head experience?
At the very beginning of all this. That's how this started.
Okay, so you've got the sweep, and so now you're still inside of the sweep. The most important thing is to not let your family do anything weird to you.
Such as?
Don't, incarcerate you in a mental hospital.
No. Rob got it. Rob understood when you spoke to him. He did some research. They actually stayed with me when you spoke to them. My family stayed with me for 2 days, 2 nights after. So I had them here for the whole weekend, and they just allowed me that space. And because Isaiah is going through it, like Rob told you,
right.
Isaiah have a lot of questions to ask you, and I think I'll have to introduce him to you pretty soon.
Sure, get him on the show. Get him on the show here, so we can help all kinds of people instead of just one.
Next week he went out for a family dinner, but next week I'll have him call you and get him to join the group. But you're gonna have to coach Isaiah through this because I've been through my own experience, and my life was different from Isaiah's. My life turned upside down. I've lost my marriage. My mother, father died in my arms. I attempted suicide. I've been going through this for 20 years, and I had everything could have gone wrong, went wrong. But with Isaiah is different. He's had a different life. Right. And, he's got Rob and I, and you're going to really have to help Isaiah through this.
Well, as will you, because as he sees you going into this fearlessly, so can he.
Yes. Well, he's been walking with me, which is really, really good. But Isaiah is already telling me that he can feel the energy from the earth moving up his body. And that's kind of like one of my symptoms. That's what I was experiencing. I can feel everything coming. I can feel the energy all around me, like the earth energy going up from my feet, and it can get overwhelming. It can become a lot.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be happy to help him in any way that I can.
Okay. So next week I'll have him call directly.
Will do. Okay. I look forward to it. And thank you for calling. And remember, gratitude, surrender on the lawn with the grass on your back and the starlight coming in the front of you.
Okay. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Suntara.
And she's logged herself out, so she's listening. So you're welcome on behalf of Suntara as well. And I'm going to put you in the blue. Thank you for calling, my dear.
Yes. Don't cut me off. I'll just keep listening.
Okay. Very good. And Suntara, you're in the red now, just so you know. So, take care of whatever business you're doing. Okay. So now I'm going to come in to Tyra here, and Tyra's got a question.
Yeah.
Hi, Tyra.
Hey, Chrism, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for doing this show. It's very helpful.
Well, that thank you goes straight to Suntara. She makes this show happen.
Suntara, thank you so much. Okay. Yes. I just have a quick question. If somebody goes into a coma and maybe a drug overdose or something like that, is there anything that like a Kundalini awakened person can or should do? And what happens?
Talk to them in their ear. get right up to their ear and whisper to them. And you might say some like a Shakti prayer to them, or depending on what kind of religion they're following. If they're following any religion, you can just say the words Kundalini, Kundalini, Kundalini. Whisper and do it in both ears, not just one. So pick the ear, maybe go to the left ear first and spend about 10 minutes on that ear, then go over to the right ear and spend about 10 minutes on that ear, and just let them know. You want to give them an audio target for them to find their way back.
Oh. Okay, so you said total 15 minutes in each ear and say what?
10 minutes per ear. And you can just say their name. You can say who you are. You can say their name. You can ask the Kundalini to help heal them and to guide them where they need to be. Now, where they need to be may not always be in the conscious world. Where they need to be may be inside of the unconscious world, where they're learning about how to deal with some of the issues that they've come up against. And, whether it's months or weeks or months or years, doesn't matter. What matters is that you talk to them. They're hearing you. They're hearing your voice. And they may even remember hearing you. Call to them, talk to them, and help them and be there for them. Do it daily if you can.
Do it daily. Okay, so this person doesn't know me. It's like he's a
doesn't
son
matter.
of my friend.
Daily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But is it, the other question is it the right thing to do? I read somewhere that when people go in coma, their Kundalini goes all the way to the down below Muladhara, and it's kind of very, very thin and dull.
No.
No? Okay.
By the way, people write this nonsense. No, it's not true at all.
Okay, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing then.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, are we doing the right thing by intervening their destiny? We don't know what their destiny is, right?
Well, hello, you're part of their destiny.
Sorry, say that again.
If they know a Kundalini person, or their family knows a Kundalini person, and that Kundalini person goes and talks to them, and is reaching out to help them from love and kindness and consideration, that is part of their destiny.
Okay.
Like you said, you don't know their destiny, so you don't know that you're not part of it.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah, because it's a very young person and in coma for like last 3 years. So, I mean, I personally believe that my Kundalini is awakened, but I still don't know that I'm the right person to do anything, and I might end up doing harm than good.
You don't know that you're not.
Right. Oh, okay.
You're just cashing in on your fears and the fear pornography that these people that wrote that erroneous comment about Kundalini is feeding you. What does selfless service mean to you? Does that mean that when you see an accident on the side of the road, you just drive on by, even though you could have stopped and helped, right? Because, hey, I don't know that I'm part of their destiny. I mean, maybe their destiny is just to bleed out on the side of the road.
Right. So
you just drive by, or you stop and give aid.
No, Chrism, I just wanted to have some, because I also read somewhere that if your Kundalini is so high up, you can actually cause more mental damage that their brain suffers.
I don't know. I really suggest you find another source of information about the Kundalini.
Okay.
I don't, and some of these folks are really well written too. They can make their case. Oh my gosh, if you've got the Kundalini and you're like going really well with the Kundalini, well then when you're talking to that person, that Kundalini can go up inside of them and it can like begin to burst their chakras open. They spread the chakra all over the place, and that person's chakra is no longer useful. And it's like, you did that because you have the Kundalini. It's such a crock of shit.
No, I also read somewhere that you can start touching like around their belly button area and try to help them raise
You might want to take a hands-off approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your guidance. I appreciate
You're
that.
very, very welcome. You go and you help this young person now. Don't you have any fear about helping that person? You'll be giving a tremendous opportunity to help a young person continue their life.
Right.
They don't
and
need
you know,
to be trapped. They don't need to be trapped in that prison. Go ahead.
Right, and I feel so bad. And here's my other challenge, right? Like most people, like the parents of the child, they're not too open about Kundalini. And I try to talk to them.
Don't try to tell them about Kundalini. Do not. Do not. They are not ready for that.
Right.
You just keep it to yourself. And you just talk to the kid and help the kid. That's all you do. You don't try to sway people. You don't try to let people know how powerful you are. You don't try to make them believe in the Kundalini. You don't do any of these egocentric things. You just go there for the child. You give your grace to that child. That's all you do. 20 minutes.
Just talking into the ears, that's it?
Just talking into the ear. And maybe saying a prayer to your Kundalini to help heal that child.
Okay.
As is appropriate. Remember, as is appropriate for that child. Don't forget to add that part.
Okay, as appropriate.
Say their name. Yes, say their name and let them know that they're safe. Let them know that it's okay. Okay? Just do that. 10 minutes per ear.
Okay, 10 minutes per ear and every day, right? Okay.
Every day, if you can. If you can. I mean, do the best you can with that.
Okay. Okay.
Hands-off approach. You're welcome,
Sorry?
my dear. Hands-off approach. You don't need to touch
approach. Okay, do not touch it. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. Okay. And now, Centaur, are you there?
I'm here, Chrism, yeah.
You ready? You got any questions for me? Do I need to go to the group and look them up?
No.
All right.
I have questions, and I have the answers if you want them, okay? So I did what you asked me to do last. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so the first question is, what exactly is ascension? Is it an evolution in consciousness?
Well, no, it's a new scent out there. It's called Chun, and this scent Chun comes from the Chun flower, and some people screwed it up and they kind of put it all together, so it's ascension. All right. Ascension is the deliverance, the conscious transformation of a human being into a divine state. And that you can either go with the whole body. There's a certain way that you can increase the vibratory rate of all molecules and atoms of the body, and you can take the body with you if that is appropriate, and if that is along the divine will and the divine karma and benevolence of your system, or the body is left and it's the spirit that ascends. Typically, that's the case. Most people will not want to take the baggage of the mortal body with them, but some people do. Babaji or Baba Sai Baba, one of the Baba guys, evidently they like to take the body with them, or they incarnate into somebody else, which I got more of a problem with. That's just like channeling to me. But ascension basically is ascending beyond the parameters of physical expression into a divine expression. Did I write that? Is that what I wrote?
Yeah, you said evolution into the next phase of consciousness beyond physical, also beyond logical, linear pattern assumptions.
All right, yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, Janice, how does one come back from an egomania year? How does a person climb out of despair and self-guilt and pity?
Well, first of all, you recognize that you've been into a year of egomaniacal behavior. The first part of the solution is articulating the question. Once you've articulated the question, then you can begin to make corrections in that behavior. And so if you've been in an egomania year, well, then you just begin to practice the noble qualities and the noble behaviors. And these behaviors dictate that you are less self-centered, that you are more prone to forgiveness and kindness and tolerance and trust and patience and discipline and selfless service, happiness, strength, joy, love, non-judgmentalism. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. What is your view on self-pleasure in a Kundalini activated person? How do you determine if it's an ego? How do you determine if an action is ego-driven and not in line with the divine mission of Kundalini?
Well, you certainly
I read
cleaned
that
out.
badly. Do I need to read?
No.
Will I read it again?
This is about sex, ladies and gentlemen. This is about self-pleasuring within a sexual context. And what I answered there was that the way you can determine whether it's an ego-driven thing is if it's of the ego. So, for instance, BDSM, bondage. What's the D part? Bondage.
I'm going to write that out and keep it so that we'll know what. I can't remember either.
Well, BDSM is bondage, something with a D, sadomasochism. Can somebody help us out there in the chat room? What's the D stand for? Bondage, something, sadomasochism. That is going to be of the ego. And if you have rape fantasies, or you have some sort of a fantasy that is brutalizing another person or brutalizing yourself, that is of the ego. And so you want to really be careful about what you fantasize about when you're sexually self-stimulating yourself. Love and grace, happiness, joy, union, unity are also very, very exciting and very, very healthy ways of creating a fantasy that will allow you to self-stimulate in a way that doesn't harm you. Now, you got to watch out, though. It's like when you're self-stimulating, there's going to be a lot of entity contact or entity infusion into you in order to try to change the way you're thinking or change the tenor or the aspect of your fantasy that you're using. So be advised of that, and stop self-stimulating if you come into a situation where you're falling into BDSM or you're falling into something that is causing you to be negative or hurtful or harmful to yourself or to others. That is a clear indication of egocentrism being inserted into the self-pleasuring matrix. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. And it's dominance.
Dominance! Yes, of course.
Yay, I Googled. Okay.
Wait. Now, Vicky has a question here, and I just got to get to it here. Vicky, she says, one time during meditation, I was flying, and I was going over the trees. I saw The flowers burst open as I flew over them, and I saw people standing in huge circles holding hands. It was an amazing experience. I've had others too. And yes, Vicki, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying spread your radiance over this world. Perfect example, Vicki. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that out. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. And thank you, DMLC1111, for the domination, for the D. Thank you. Thank you. We were helped in both ways. Thank you, Centaura, and I believe that's Matt there. So thank you, everyone. Go ahead. Next question, please.
Chrism, I've been wanting to ask, is there such a thing as a healthy ego, or do we have to transcend it, drop all of our ego as we surrender to grace? I'm confused because others say that.
Yeah, there is a such thing as a healthy ego, and that's an ego that wants to participate with the higher mental functioning psychology. So the ego that wants to be forgiving, that wants to be surrendered to divinity, that wants to be of service to other people, that wants to, in a very, very, very close and clear way, that wants to do these things towards an enlightenment equation for the entire body, but not only just for the self, but also for everything around the self. Yes, there is very much a such thing as a healthy ego. These are the egos that can do the really, really difficult Kundalini tests, like the ones that can be really centered around being totally surrendered, totally, completely surrendered in the most powerful expression of the word surrendered. These are the people that can really begin to make leapfrogs of evolution within the activation phase. These are the people that can let's just say that, like you had for a little while there and still do, a certain level of possession. An entity comes in and possesses the individual, or maybe a group of entities come in and possess the individual. These are the people that can still have that possession and still, even amongst that possession, have a very, very surrendered context and know the difference between the surrendering to the entities or surrendering the ego into the Kundalini, and the difference between the two. These are the people that get the very, very harsh experiences, and yet because they have that integrity within the ego structure itself, they're able to manifest very, very positive results for themselves, but also for the others within their surroundings. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. I recently decided to start teaching yoga again and was contacted by someone interested in Kundalini yoga. I told them I was not qualified to teach that, but could teach them yin yoga. I'm not sure if they are trying to activate Kundalini, but how do I safely hold space as to not accidentally activate them?
It's not up to you whether people are activated, unless you go into it with that. You see, if you go into the intention like, oh, there's Amelia. She's over there. She's standing next to that water fountain with the handle to the water on the wrong side, just like the roads. There she is, leaning up against that water fountain. As soon as she begins to take a sip, I'm going to zap her with an activation beam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you're gonna have some problems with that. But if you're just going there to teach the yoga and to be very, very honest and truthful and without agenda to teach the yoga, you let your Shakti decide who's going to get activated by virtue of your presence and who won't. Whoever comes is going to be called. So you need to trust your Shakti, trust the Kundalini, trust that it is bringing those people who need to come into your presence, and it is going to activate those who require it, and it will not touch those who do not. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. Good morning, everyone. I wonder if any of you have seen a little blue man with curly and black hair jumping in the third eye. Do you know who he is? Was it Shiva?
Well, no, it's not Shiva. Shiva's typically not that way. But now we're getting into Hindu philosophy, and the reason why I really admire the Hindus is that, you know, they kept a very strong oral history of some of the Kundalini phenomena that would occur. This would be Krishna. Krishna is the blue man, and Krishna, you know, within the Kundalini context, being Krishna, it is really sacred masculine. It's the sacred male. It is the God form of the sacred male, just like any of the various feminine entities that a person might see, you know, within the Kundalini context would be the Shakti or the sacred feminine. Like Andrea mentioned, she saw what's that one? Who was it? Lakshmi. Well, Lakshmi can also be just an aspect of sacred femininity. And so even though the Hindu or the ancient Sanskriti people kept a very strong oral history, their names for it are basically shamanic names given to a god experience. And so really the blue man is the masculine aspect of Kundalini or of divine grace. It's not Shiva, and it's really not Krishna, because I'll tell you what, if you're not Hindu, that doesn't mean the blue man's not going to visit you. The blue man will visit anybody that's getting the Kundalini, and oh my gosh, if they're not Hindu, what are they going to call him? Are they going to call him the blue man? Or are they going to make up a name for this blue entity that they're seeing? And this goes in context with the blue stars or the slowly moving blue diamonds of light that kind of float across your visual field. Same thing. Same exact thing. And it's also the same thing as the blue that I have some of my students wear on their right hand. The right hand is the sacred masculine hand, the sacred male part of the body, not necessarily that one between the legs, but the one that is indicative of the masculine vibratory frequency. Just as the sacred feminine, encompasses a deep red color. And so this is all part of the Kundalini equation, not necessarily associated with a specific religious understanding. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. Okay, so this is from a new member. Recently, I started learning about Kundalini. It's part of my training because I'm a student at Holistic Studies Institute in NYC. Yesterday, we did a special meditation to activate our Kundalini energy. Before we did, a classmate informed me that when her Kundalini was activated last month, she realized she had so much rage and anger. She purged this anger out of her system in 1 month. Anyway, after my Kundalini was activated, I behaved out of character. I got into arguments, and this morning on the train, I argued with some woman. This is very out of character for me. Am I experiencing a purge? Has anyone else experienced this? I hope it doesn't last long. I don't know how long I can take it. Tomorrow, I'm going to receive an Ananda Mandala chanting clearing and Dishka energy transfer. Or Dikshta.
Yeah, I cannot speak strongly enough against these types of schools. This is look it up. What's it called? The Holistic Institute of New York City.com. That'll also help you win the lottery, by the way. Just an FYI. This person does a certain meditation that they call a special meditation, and boom, their Kundalini's awakened, and now they get to go through all that. It's just bullshit. This really pollutes the pond for the people that are really going through the true thing. And they're just charging money for these people, and they're just, these innocent people go in and they want to have the powers of the Kundalini so badly that they'll pay $100 or $1,000 to go to a school like this that says that they can do it, and then they begin to adopt through the fear of loss and want of gain continuum. They want, they want to feel like they lost their $1,000. They want to feel like they gained something. So they manifest within their own psychology the symptoms that they have been preloaded with at the class. So the instructor says, well, yes, now you've been given the special meditation, and of course you're going to have these detoxification events, and they're going to make you feel really angry sometimes. You're not going to, there's all this stuff. And so they preload these people, and the people go around thinking that they're having a Kundalini activation or awakening, and they're not. It is a farce, and it is a really, really screwed up way to make money. But this is what they're doing. I've looked it up. I saw the guy that's running the school. He's a Reiki person, some sort of, I have very, very little respect for these types of people, and they will, they will get what's coming to them for misleading so many. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. Okay, so this lady is scared to give in and to be her most authentic self. And she says, I have the most amazing, significant other, but I cannot vibe with his family. They still treat him like a child. Mental abuse tendencies still linger in their words. And it takes everything out of me not to be like, WTF, don't you all know it's rude the way you're being towards him? So she wants to know about that, Chrism. Should she avoid toxic people and that?
Yeah, she should. I mean, for people that cannot have or hold Kundalini, don't know what it is, they're going to just be frightened. It's just going to frighten them, and there's no need to frighten people because you have grace, the awakened or activated state. And so if this is a significant other and that family of the significant other and that other is not supporting her, and the family's not supporting her or is not supporting her equation, the Kundalini itself can terminate that. And I think just by virtue of the words that she's using, that is going to be the case. She will leave.
He's very good, Chrism. No, he's okay. I cut it. I should have read the whole thing. It was just long. She said he's most amazing. But it's his family. So I think but
he's allowing his family. He's enabling his family.
To talk about him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like a spoiled child, basically, is what I'm getting, right?
Okay.
They like, I think he's being controlled by his family more than he is his own choices, right? Is that what you get from that?
Yeah, they're very nasty to him personally, very rude. They treat him
nasty.
badly.
They're nasty to him.
Yeah. And she really wants to say, WTF, you're being horrendous to him. And
either way, you're going to have to make a departure in some way from that vexation. You don't have to have people around you that are constantly vexing you or constantly chewing you up in a way. I mean, it's not creating a level of tolerance or a healthy level of tolerance, and it's just basically slowing people down. And so yeah, you've got to either just stop communicating with them or move on in some way, shape, or form. But you do not need to, and he does not need to allow them to keep treating him the way they're treating him. I mean, there's an enabling aspect to this equation that I'm hearing in the word. Somebody's enabling these parents and this family to be rude to one member of their family. Happens a lot, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I suppose it's that balance.
It happens a lot with many people. That's with me and my family, same way. They chigger me up behind my back, but they're civil and nice to me in front of me, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I see them so rarely as it is. Christmas and maybe Easter, Mother's Day type of thing, but 3 times a year, if that. And I can withstand it. But if they were harping on me all day long, every day, guess what? You know, I would
Yeah.
not allow that to happen at all. I would.
And
I
that's
would put
okay,
my
really, isn't it? I mean,
It is. It's absolutely okay.
yeah.
People cannot have what doesn't fit into their reference points, and it frightens a lot of people. And a lot of people respond to interfere in a very caustic attack mode treatment of the person that they feel is giving them that fear. That's why, I don't talk a lot about Kundalini with my family because, they're just not ready to have it. All it does is frighten them. And, that's not the reason why, I go there for Christmas or whatever it is. The idea is not to expound upon my great panorama of divine understandings to people who don't have the ears to hear it. That's just egotism. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. So, hi all, an odd question for you. Does the concept of Ikigai, I can't pronounce it, Ikigai, intersect
What is
with
it?
Kundalini? Thank you.
I didn't get that.
It's Ikigai, Ikigai, the sense of purpose. How do you pronounce that?
Just skip that one. Just skip it.
Okay. The other morning I had a snake dream. I lost my python and found it underwater in the sea. No harm done. Any ideas, please?
Yeah, the sea represents the consciousness of grace within an individual. And the snake being under the water, or basically under the second chakra, which is a water chakra, means that it's at the base of the second, but it's also kind of buried a little bit into the first, and it's just waiting. It's just waiting for another time to come forward. Nothing is lost.
Can we do annulum villum, alternative nostril breathing, during the Kundalini process to cleanse nadis?
Nadises aren't dirty. What we do the pranayama for, the alternate nostril breathing, is to stimulate the nadis in order for it to carry a stronger charge of energy than just the normal body electric charge that it's used to having. That's why we do the alternate nostril breathing. It's not like scrubbing the nadis clean because you've been so dirty your whole life that your nadis has just got all filthy. That's not what it's about. That's just a way of describing energetic purification. And so we could also say that it's, they're being purified, but that isn't quite the case either. They're being transformed into more powerful conductors of energy. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. The next question, I don't think you've seen yet. It's on the group, the private group. Respected Master Chrism, I have been having severe aches and pains in my body. My muscles are too sore to do anything. I am struggling to complete simple tasks at home, and I am unable to do any exercise due to my fatigue level. I have not done the 5 Tibetans for 3 months. I wanted to do gardening today, even though my body did not have any energy. After digging the ground and preparing the soil, I am feeling lightheaded and nauseous. My hands have been freezing cold, but my feet are hot for 3 or 4 months. Whenever I put my bare feet on a cold surface, as in cold weather in New Zealand, I feel burning hot sensation in the bottom part of my feet when it touches the ground. I want to cry sometimes as I see the messy house. I have cried secretly from my son because I do not want to upset him. I have surrendered to divine. What should I do, Master? Please guide me.
Go stand in the ocean. Go on your hands and knees in the soft, gentle surf of the ocean, and let the ocean bring a level of balance to you. It's Kundalini all the way. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just part of the phenomena that can be difficult sometimes. Like when I do devotion with a person, when I'm doing, in-person devotion, or even, over Skype or over FaceTime or something like that, When I do devotion with a person, the Kundalini can come on so strong that it literally saps the strength right out of a person, and they have to take some time, some downtime, in order to really recuperate. And what's happening to you is the Kundalini is coming in a very strong infusion within you, and you're requiring a certain level of downtime right now, and it's okay. Nothing's wrong. This will stop. This will not be endless and forever, but go into the ocean, surf. You're living in New Zealand, so I can only imagine the ocean is not too far from you. Go into the ocean, surf, and just kind of let the ocean I mean, geez Louise. Anyway, let the ocean.
That was like a wave crashing. I thought you were doing special effects.
No.
Wow.
That was just somebody with a really loud muffler on their diesel pickup. I mean, we got a lot of that around here. Anyway.
Yeah.
So go into the ocean and let the ocean give you a stabilization treatment. It may also give you some more energy too. And also for you, lay with your back to the grass and your front to the stars. The same instruction that I gave Indra. And give yourself to the Kundalini in any way, shape, and form the Kundalini wants to receive your surrender. Do that. Do that once every night for at least 21 minutes. For the ocean, spend at least 21 minutes in the surf. Keep us apprised. Over.
Thank you. I feel energy circulating 24/7, which is fine. However, I will wake up around 4 a.m. experiencing what I can only describe as an energy storm or hurricane. It starts in my upper back, back of neck, back of head. Sometimes the particles of energy are very fine and circulate quickly and easily. Then there are times when they feel like chunks and can be physically painful. In the beginning, I would feel like I was a burning torch. Then it has become more neutral, and now I'm experiencing a lot of cold. Over the next few hours, the energy will spread so that I am feeling a rapid circulation within my entire body. By the time I have to get up to go to work, it is pretty much past and I can function. But there are other times, like right now, when the energy storm is still happily circulating. Is this an example of Kundalini cleaning house?
No, not exactly an example of Kundalini cleaning house. It's an example of an infusion, and it's an example of a very kind and considerate infusion by the Kundalini where she's doing it. It sounds typically during the golden hour, from 3 a.m. to like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And so she's keeping it out of your workspace, which you should be very grateful for, because she doesn't do that for everybody. And this is a definite, strong infusionary development and continuous developing an equation. And this person should be very happy and very grateful for this that is happening. And really,
actually,
don't what?
There was another part underneath as well, Chrism, that says during the energy storm, emotions also come to the surface like depression and anxiety, but mostly grief.
Well, that's just stuff that's detoxing out of her. That's not it. Those are like the exudate that the Kundalini is taking out of the equation. But the most important thing really is that she needs to stop trying to figure it out, to be completely and totally surrendered to it, to be completely and totally grateful for it. Don't buy into the grief or the sadness that comes at the end. That's just the detox coming out. Just let that go. That'll go away. And I know the ego will try to get wrapped up into that, but don't let it. And this is really good. This is very, very good phenomena. And be very, very thankful and have a lot of gratitude for Kundalini for this, because she's really, really, really helping you in very, very big ways. Over.
Thank you. Does talking about one's Kundalini experience get one more immersed in Maya? Does this strengthen the ego? And is it a distraction for true spiritual growth? What is your opinion?
So Maya, like in mayonnaise? I'm more of a mustard. I'm a mustard man myself. I like the different mustards. You might be talking about Maya.
Oh, my pronunciation, obviously. Yeah, I bet I am.
No. Talking about the Kundalini. I mean, depends on what your attitude is when you're talking about it. Depends on what what the context of the conversation is. If the context of the conversation has a very strong egocentrism, then yeah, you can get pulled into Maya very easily. Maya is a Sanskrit word for illusion, ladies and gentlemen. And so you can get pulled into illusion, the illusionary domination of the ego, or the illusions of competition, the illusions of winners and losers, the illusion of fear, the illusion of need, the illusion of gain, these types of things. But if you're just talking about Kundalini in a higher context, it doesn't have to lead you into illusion or Maya. Over.
Thank you. I am partaking of the Shaktipat. What do we do after the 7th day of Shaktipat?
Go to McDonald's and really pig out really strong. No, I take that back. After the 7th day, you go back to your normal life. If you're working, you keep a practice of the safeties going if you can. All the safeties, not just the Tibetans and not just the alternate nostril breathing, but the noble behaviors like honesty, trust, and love, and non-judgmentalism, selfless service for others, and the expression of truth. And you continue with those practices all the way out to the 9th day after the Shaktipat, and that's when the scatter fields dissolve. And then I would suggest you even consider those practices after the 9th day, and the scatter fields have dissolved. You have received a Kundalini Shaktipat. Now, it may not be as bombastic as Indra's is right now, but sometimes you don't want it right off the bat that way. It can be very painful to have the flesh and the bone and the tendon and the brain and the dense parts of the body forcefully transformed in such a short period of time. This is why we do it every 4 months. We do it with the solstice and the equinox, or is it 3 months? It's every 3 months. And as we do it with the solstice and the equinox, it gives the body an opportunity to change, to transform, so that each subsequent Shaktipat pushes you a little further up the mountain. But you've still got to take the steps, still got to work that process and open yourself to the divine and open yourself into the manifestations of grace upon your body. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. And that's the questions that I've gathered for today.
Perfect timing,
yeah.
too. Well, any last words, my dear?
I would just like to give people the website they can go to if they'd like to make a donation, and I'll do that quickly. It's www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com, or you can go to www.kundalinisafeties.com, and you can make a donation there. All donations gratefully received. So if you're in a position to donate, I would invite you to please do so. Other than that, no, Chrism, same time next week. Looking forward to seeing everybody, and hi to everybody.
Okay. I'm heading on over to Rosemary right now. Here we go. And
hello.
Hi, Rosemary. How are you?
I'm fine. I was getting. Oh my goodness, maybe not. Here in Minnesota, as many of you know, we are preparing for a seminar October 28th and 29th in Mankato, a little bit south of the Twin Cities, and it will be at the American Hotel and Conference Center, and we have rooms there at a group rate. And my information is rosemaryg@usinternet.com and 651-329-9615. And I thank you, those who have contacted me and have will be coming. We have some through the.
I really appreciate what you and Joey and Katie have been doing in order to get that seminar going, and for you and Joey for doing all these expos over there in the great state of Minnesota in the United States. I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to seeing anybody that is listening to this program and who would like to have an in-person experience of Shaktipat that will be given at this seminar. And Rosemary, if you could give the dates again, please.
October 28 and 29. That's the last weekend of October in Mankato. And my information, 651-329-9615, rosemaryg@usinternet.com. Thank you, Chris.
Didn't you say there was a special discount for people who came dressed like a nun? Was that?
Well, no, but that might make it difficult and unfair. Life needs to be.
All right.
That would be fun. That would be fun. I probably could get a few.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
Bless
Thank you. Thank you for doing all the work that you're doing there and for really spreading that light. This is Rosemary and Joey and the many people that are there in Minnesota helping with this seminar that's going up, Katie. This is an action of beaming that light that I was talking about earlier. This is an activity that is beaming and spreading the opportunity for people to come into this level of information and this level of actual experience with the Kundalini. And it is such a blessing what they're doing. It is such a blessing to come to one of these events that they're setting up here. The people there they're so interesting. They come from such a diverse background of life and energetic expression. And I really encourage anybody that is listening to this program to click off that date. I guess it's the last weekend in October, and really make a plan to come out there. It's a Halloween Kundalini. And thank you again, Rosemary. Thank you, Joey. And thank you, Katie, for setting that up in Mankato, Minnesota, United States. All righty. And I will go ahead and end this the way I started this. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this edition of this program about your Kundalini. My name is Chrism. You can see a lot of videos if you go chrism.kundalini in the YouTube video. We have groups on Facebook, Kundalini Awakening ! Kundalini Awakening Systems 2, Kundalini Awakening Systems 3, Kundalini People, Jedi Kundalini, a new one, Ascension Kundalini, another new one, Kundalini Healing. We also are on the Yahoo network, and that is Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at Yahoo Groups, and we have Kundalini Healing there. We have Kundalini, the Holy Fire of Christ there as well. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat room. Thank you to the future people listening in the archives. And thank you to Amelia Santara for providing this vector communication about the Kundalini. Thank you very much.